Hello, good afternoon everyone. Today we are going to study the basic concepts in Indian economy. I am Professor Shailesh Kokati from Mechanical Engineering Department, Sharad Institute of Technology, College of Engineering. Okay, so we are going to start basic concepts in Indian economy. Before going for the basic concept of economics, we should understand the economic history of India, as the known economic history of India started with Indus Valley civilization. As everyone is well aware about the Indus Valley civilization. So it was established around 3300 BC. We call 3300 before Christ, and it flourished, or we can say it matured between 2700 BC to 1900 BC. Okay, so the history of economics of India is rooted in Indus Valley civilization. So that Indus Valley civilization was established around 3300 BC, and it matured, or we can say flourished, between 2700 BC to 1900 BC. Okay, the Indus civilization economy appears to have depended largely on trade. Means that time the only media of economy was trade. Through the trade, the peoples were carried out economical activity. So next, around 600 BC, in India, there were different Mahajanpadas. Mahajanpadas. These Mahajanpadas located near to the Ganga rivers. Means we can say the presently Bihar and some part of Uttar Pradesh, where the rulers of Mahajanpadas were settled. Now, around 3600 BC, the Mahajanpadas first time in India minted or produced a silver coin as a currency for trading. I repeat, around 600 BC in India, the Mahajanpadas have had developed the silver coin as a currency for trading. Now, that period was marked by intensive trade activity. It means that all economic activities were done only by trading. Okay. Now, we'll see the next point. During those period, India is estimated to have the largest economy of the ancient and medieval world, as India is the largest economy between 1st and 17th century AD. Means we can say before coming of Europeans, India was a developed economy. I will put some interesting example here. That time, India was controlling between one third and one fourth of world's total wealth of that time. Means we can say before arriving the European, the India was one of the developed country. According to economic historian, writer Angus Madison, he is British economist. Angus Madison, he is British economist. In his book, the name as World Economy, a Millennial Perspective. In that book, August Madison has mentioned about India, like India was the richest country in the world and had the world's largest economy during 0 BC to 1700 BC. Okay, means more than 200 centuries, more than 2 centuries, the Britishers were ruled on us, and the very famous economist from British, he himself pointed about India's economic status. So he said that India was the richest country between 0 before Christ to 1700 BC. Though in India, ancient times, or we can say that in ancient India, had a significant urban population. Much of India's population resided in villages. And we know that the peoples who reside in villages has the agriculture as the main occupation. The condition was same during ancient times of India, and the condition is same during present day. That is, in rural areas or in villages, the peoples mostly dependent on agriculture. Similarly, again, the British economist Angus Madison also pointed out India's share of the world income. It was 27% average with the world in 1700 BC, and that time it was Europe's share was 23%. See, before 1700 BC, the share of India's in world income was 27%, and that of Europe's all countries, that is 28 countries, the share was merely 23%. And the growth of that India's reduced from 27% to 3% in 1915. So we understood since 1700 BC to 1950 how much wealth of India's plunked by foreigners. Now, before going for more concept of economics, we understand about coinage. As I already told about the coins in India, the very first minted, or we can say developed or produced or utilized by Mahajanpadas around 6th century BC. So it was a metallic coin, mostly the silver coins. After that, in India, many kingdoms and rulers were issued different coins, as we reside in Maharashtra. So we know Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj had minted his own coin. Okay, now again we'll see the Reserve Bank of India. Here we are going to see some of the historical facts of Reserve Bank of India. The Reserve Bank of India was founded on 1st April 1935. Now, it was founded because after the First World War, the economic slowdown occurred in the world. In order to control or in order to minimize its impact on the Indian economy, so it was the Reserve Bank of India was developed. As here I have mentioned the last point, initially the Reserve Bank of India was not a government bank. It was a privately held bank. We'll see about how it became a government in next coming slide. Now, the idea of formation of Reserve Bank of India went to the Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, then Indian Constitutional Reform Committees, and Hilton Young Commission. Okay, so these three factors are contributed for the formation of Reserve Bank of India. Accordingly, the Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar laid down the guidelines for formation of Reserve Bank of India. In British, in 1920, the Reserve that Hilton Young Commission was set up, and that commission has made recommendation for formation of one bank in India. So RBI was conceptualized as per the guidelines working and presented by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar in front of the Hilton Young Commission, which was set up in 1920 in Britain. Again, in 1933, in India, one white paper on Indian constitutional reforms recommended the creation of the Reserve Bank. What is meant by white paper? It is just a terminology. Means in today's context, whatever we write on a paper is called as white paper. Here I have mentioned about RBI that RBI was not initially a government owner bank but a privately held bank, and when the RBI started or when it formed, initially the share capital of rupees 5 crore was the capital of RBI. Means the capital at the time of formation of RBI was rupees 5 crore. It was divided into the shares of rupees 100 each, as it was a privately held shareholder bank. Now, when RBI was established, the central office of the RBI was initially at Calcutta or now Kolkata. But in 1937, it was permanently shifted to the Bombay. So, I repeat, when RBI established, its central office was located at Calcutta or Kolkata, and during 1937, it was permanently shifted to Bombay. Very interesting fact about RBI. RBI also acted as a Burma's central bank. Burma is currently Myanmar country. Means along with India, RBI also acted for Burma country or Myanmar country. Now, RBI initially was a private shareholder bank. When we got independence, the government has decided to nationalize the Reserve Bank of India. So, for that purpose, the government of India passed the Reserve Bank, that is Transfer to Public Ownership Act in 1948. The government of India passed the Reserve Bank Transfer to Public Ownership Act 1948 and took over the control of RBI by paying appropriate compensation to the private shareholders, and finally on 1st January 1949, Government of India nationalized the RBI. Since January 1949, RBI started working as a government-owned bank. See, so it's established in 1935. It was a private bank, and in 1949 it became a government bank. Now, we'll see the economics terms.